Hello, welcome back to another video. It is such a beautiful day today. Yesterday, so much rain, it just kept on going. Today, beautiful sunshine over joys of September. Welcome back to the 4th episode of September Kitchen. This week I've got some really nice recipes. We're going to start it off with making ginger truffles. I am in my sweet making phase, pre-Christmas experimenting. That is what I'm doing. We've already done, we tried to do fudge, that didn't work, and we made it into caramels instead. We did peppermint creams, and now we're doing the ginger truffles. Really looking forward to that. I'm hoping that they are going to be delicious. We've got a pear and cardamom cake, bean and butternut squash stew, some bread making, and some autumn inspired granola making. So hopefully you will stick around and spend 25 minutes with me. Now the first recipe, as I've just said, is ginger truffles. You can do these truffles in many different ways. I've researched quite a few different methods, different recipes. You can go really easy and use cream cheese and crushed ginger biscuits, or you can go more traditional with the dark chocolate, covering them in cocoa, which is what I'm going to be doing today. Now the ingredients for the ginger truffles, very few, very simple ingredients. We have dried ginger or crystallised ginger or even the fresh stuff. This is the one that I've got in the cupboard, so that is what I'm going for. 200 grams of dark chocolate. I find the Aldi one fine for baking. I'm not sure what it's going to turn out like in a luxury product like truffles, but we're going to have a go. I used really nice, quite expensive dark chocolate the other day in peppermint creams, and I actually think this stuff would have probably worked better. So sometimes it's worth playing about with things, isn't it? Some salted butter, some double cream, cocoa powder for rolling in, and then once we have left our ginger to sit in the cream, we'll taste it, and if we want a punchier ginger, then we're going to add some ground ginger in, and we're going to sprinkle a tiny bit of salt on the top of the truffles when they're done. You can have flaky salt if you want, or no salt. I'm just going to put an essence of salt, I reckon. 25 grams of butter, 150 mils double cream, and then I've got 15 grams of this dried ginger that we're going to sit in there, and I think the aim is to heat it up so it's nice and warm and not boil it. Just finely chopping, or as finely as I can, the chocolate. I'm going to pop it in a heat-proof bowl. And then once the ginger's infused the cream, I'm going to pour the cream mixture over this chocolate so it can just sit and melt gradually. It'd be a much easier job this if I didn't have such blunt knives. But if I didn't have blunt knives, I'd have no fingers, because I'm slightly lackadaisy. Let it sit for a few seconds. And then hopefully this cream is going to be warm enough to melt this chocolate. Otherwise we're in a situation. I should have left it longer to sit, by the way, but I'm a very impatient person sometimes, and I need to move it around. Come on, cream, don't let me down. Come on. You know you want to. I'm just going to help it along slightly. Just popped some hot water in a pan. Let it sit over it. beautiful gradual process. But I'm finally getting the ginger taste that I'm wanting. You do want it to be quite punchy, don't you? That mixture's got to be in the fridge for roughly 2 hours. So I'm going to make myself a really nice autumn coffee. And I'm going to have a play around with this. It's an eye massager that I've been sent to try from the brand Bob and Brad. As a massage therapist, I absolutely love trying things like this, because you can never find anybody to do you a good massage. So whilst you're out there in the world providing relief for other people, you don't get the relief that others get. So very grateful. My daughter's tried it already. She had a banging headache the other day. So I said, Hayley, I've got something that you want to try. So we're going to go and stick it on. I believe that it's 15-minute cycles. So we're going to have a nice coffee and at 15 minutes relax.
Bob and Brad eye massager is on. Air pressure plus heat plus music.
I hope that for the rest of my time on earth, no robot will ever replace hands-on massage, because that's my industry down the pan. But this is very good. I'd like to see this in neck form, because whilst I was having my eyes massaged and it sort of catches around your temples, my neck was being triggered because I hold a lot of tension in my neck. So my body was telling me, you really need a neck massage. And I was just imagining that they had this in neck form, just to go right underneath. That would be absolute bliss. But this is a good piece of equipment. Basically what it does is it applies pressure and heat around where the mask fits, so it skims sort of your temporal area, goes all the way around your eye sockets, and it is a 15-minute program, so it's not a repetitive thing. It goes through a series of different movements, and it also goes down the bridge of your nose, so it's taking in all this area. So if you did have tension around here, you suffered from tension headaches, I would imagine that this would be a really good thing to have. So I would imagine if you use this as part of a daily or weekly routine, the tension is not going to build as much, so maybe you wouldn't get the headache. The motions are very nice. Also, what I wasn't expecting was how relaxing the rhythm, the audio rhythm was, and it's lightweight. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to feel like an Oculus. You don't really feel this at all, although there are parts in the program where this strains because sort of the pressure comes out here, so it sort of pulls on the back of your head, but that's a nice pressure, it's not bad. There are different programs that you can use, so you can opt for no heat, you can opt for just heat. There's a whole booklet that comes with it. My only criticism of it is right at the end, it just stops. And when you're having a massage, when you're having a manual massage, and I'm not saying that they've designed this to replace that, but your massage therapist would not just stop. You would expect that it just sort of slowly tapered out and it doesn't, it just goes doof. But on a positive note, that's why robots will not overtake massage therapists just yet. It looks ready to me. I have been pondering on whether I should do traditional balls or whether I should do more rugged. And I think I'm going to go with rugged because that is more me. We'll see how it goes. Now I've broken the first rule of putting a truffle together, because it says just do it in warm, put your spoon in warm water, and I haven't done that, have I? So again, I've read, but have I processed? No, I haven't. I can see that this is going to get really messy. I've got the cocoa to the side of me, but what I've also done is I've sprinkled in some cinnamon and some salt. So it should be a really nice combination. I do like salt and sweet. So far so good. I suppose I could actually leave the shape in that sort of teardrop, but I'm messing with it, aren't I? I said I was going to do it, well, I suppose this is still rustic for some. One thing that I regret slightly is not doing the chocolate as a mix of darker milk, because I'm not sure that a couple of my kids will want to try them, and I do like for everybody to try stuff that I make. It's a good way at kids trying different things. Maybe we will do some rustic ones. I think we might have to make some more of this mix up as well. Just call me Mrs. Willy Wonka. They smell bloody gorgeous. They're not gonna taste bad, are they? They can't, because there's nothing in them that's gonna taste bad. We just want to know whether they're balanced, whether they're punchy, whether they're good. I don't know. Let's try one. Definitely tastes ginger. Not too overpowering though, but definitely, you know, it's ginger. I wish, like I said, I'd done it half dark, half milk, because that would have been better for my kids to try, because they are rich, they are dark, you know, dark chocolate rolled in dark cocoa powder. They're dark, but they're very nice. They're very autumnal, which is what we want. My pan's going mad because I'm spoiling some rice. Yeah, no else to say about them other than try them. I went out for breakfast with a friend yesterday. Menu's not changed for at least 7 years. What's this cat doing? Get down. Come on. Not jumping up there. It is a nice menu, but you know when you just fancy something that you've not had before. They must have it like a skeleton menu where they just change a few words or change it to make it seasonal. It is a nice place, but when you've been there a few times, you've probably had enough. So I went for the cheapest thing on the menu, which was granola and yogurt. Didn't taste or anything. So this morning, I'm making my own granola. It's currently in the oven, and I'm going to show you what you do to make it, because it is so very, very easy. I was scared to try it. I put it off for years, and now I do it just without thinking. I think, why were you so fearful? And then my friend's coming around. Well, my friend's my accountant. I've got to go through my end of year tax return. So I'm going to make the butternut squash and butterbean stew. so we can have that for his lunch. And I think, just on it this morning, I'm going to make some soda bread to go with the stew. It's going to be that or flatbreads, but I'm feeling the need to make soda bread, so we'll see how the morning goes on. But yeah, it puts me about going into restaurants now, because things are so expensive, and the prices have all gone up. And you know, when you cook and you bake at home and it tastes pretty alright, it's like that. Do I want to pay you X amount of pounds for what I can make at home? I've moved into that era of my life. Now this is a very simple recipe that requires very little measuring. So we have some decent oats, ground flaxseed if you have it. If you don't have it, you don't need to add it. Nuts of your choice. I'm going in with walnuts, but not too many. Pumpkin seeds, of which I love. And almonds. If I had pecans, I would be adding them, but I haven't got any. I don't ever add dried fruit to my granola recipe, but you can if you want to, but I'd add it after it's been cooked, so it don't go dry and like bullets, but I don't do it. Pinch of salt, you need the salt. It tastes far better with a pinch of salt. Cinnamon, because we are doing French toast inspired. Give that a good mix up. And then we're going to add our vanilla, because we're doing French toast. I don't normally put vanilla in. We're going to add our vanilla, our maple syrup and our oil. Now you can mix them before and add all the wet ingredients in together, but I don't, because I don't measure it out. So we've got the oil, the maple syrup. This is actually all the way from Canada. Okay, so we're going quite heavy on the maple syrup. Should do a bit more. Yep. And then some vanilla extract. Again, to give it that French toast sort of vibe that we're looking for. This is quite strong, so you don't need a lot. I'm going to mix it all up. Till it's all covered, and then we're going to pop it in the oven for about 12 minutes, but we're going to check, so we don't want to burn it. These smell absolutely gorgeous. I think it's adding that vanilla, you know. Oof, hot tray. Now in this bowl, I've got 300 grams of flour, a mixture of multigrain flour and just white flour, some salt, some flax seeds, and then in this jug I've got a couple of tablespoons of melted butter, 250 mils of buttermilk, and around about a tablespoon of honey. Just going to give this a mix, give that a mix, and then it's just a matter of pouring your wet ingredients into your dry ingredients, giving it a mix, not too much, but you know, combining it, and that is it. I will just own up to the fact that I forgot to put the bicarb of soda in this mix, which is the crucial element of the loaf of bread. What am I like? Every time I cook, I leave some out. And then we just pour in. And mix in. The bought buttermilk doesn't smell as good as the buttermilk that I got from when I was making the butter. Then it's just a matter of shaping it into a very rustic loaf. I'm going to try to get it Oh, that's nice. Look at that. That looks very much like I know what I'm doing. I'm going to sprinkle some pumpkin seeds on the top. I thought that that might be quite nice. Push them in a little bit. See, this bread is ideal to do when you don't know what you're doing, but you want it to look like you do know what you're doing. I'm going to stick it in the oven for 35 minutes. See what it looks like when it comes out. Perfect. Now for our squash and butterbean stew, which I'm going to do in the slow cooker because I really do need to go and finish some last bits of paperwork. Very simple, very straightforward. You can put in add-ins if you want. I'm going to add in some courgette and some spinach at the end of cooking, but this is our base. Couple of cans of butter beans. If you don't want it as heavy with butter beans, you can just do 1 can. You just have more liquid. This one would be quite a good balance between butter beans and butternut squash. Small butternut squash, a brown onion, a couple of cloves of garlic, thumb of ginger, 400 ml of vegetable stock, a can of coconut milk, and then spice-wise, we're doing smoked paprika, some crushed chilies, ground coriander, and ground cumin. So before we put everything in the slow cooker, we do need to saute the onions, the garlic, the ginger and the spices. It's only going to take us, what, 3 minutes in a pan. We'll bang that into the slow cooker. This is so nice. It's even better than the one that I did in my other video. You need to try it. It is super simple and delicious. I don't know what it's like toasted because I've never tried it toasted. But with a little bit of butter and jam, it is divine. Let's try this now. I've added some lemon and see if we can combat that when it's too rich sort of feeling. Yeah, that's better, but I still think it might need something else. It's definitely spicy enough. I think I'm going to put a bit more lemon and some pepper in and see how that balances it. Okay, I've added lemon, pepper and salt because I can remember not adding any salt or pepper when I was cooking it. Try again. I just think maybe I'm not a fan of overly creamy things, which is strange because I love lentil dal and that's coconut based. Definitely better with the lemon though because it cuts through it, so you don't feel the richness, the heaviness. So good one if you like heavy, dense, creamy dishes. Not so good if you like the lighter sort of meals. This morning I'm going to make a pear and cardamom cake. I am wanting to start using pears in baking, so I thought that this might be a really good introduction. Let me show you ingredients we're going to use, and then you know what you're doing, don't you, if you fancy trying it yourself. And I'll pop the recipe in the description box so it's easily accessible to you. Pinch of salt, ground cardamom, or the seeds, and you grind them yourself. I can't do this because I haven't got a pestle and mortar in my kitchen at the minute. It's actually my daughter's car, so it's not as punchier as a flavour, but it will do. Some caster sugar. I'm reducing the caster sugar in this because I don't want it as sweet. Some pears, I think you only need a couple. Ground almonds, some butter, some baking powder, some plain flour, sour cream or yoghurt, and some eggs. And I think that is it. So a few more ingredients than what we normally use in a cake, but I don't know, for a cake called Pear and Cardamom, you're going to have to go the extra mile. And it is quite early in the morning actually. I've got a busy day today. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to text my mother to see if she's up, because we're going to nip to charity shops. I'm still taking stuff to the charity shop that I'm clearing out of my house. This is the second lot that we've taken, but maybe not as big a car full as the previous lot. And then what else am I doing? I'm going in Sheffield with Hayley because she's going to do the paperwork or pick up some stuff to do with the degree that she's starting in a few days. Yeah, so maybe not as busy as some people, but still busy for me. I best get on with this cake, can't I? Otherwise time's going to run away with me and I won't be going to charity shop. I feel that this might be a really good cake to make. You know, if you've got a friend coming round or if you're going over to a friend's house, I think it sits comfortably in the realms of fika. You know, the Scandinavian art of cake and a coffee. I'm just going to take a bit of that out because I'm wanting to reduce it. So we're going to go from 180 to 125. I do think that most cake recipes have way too much sugar in. We'll settle at 127, that'll be fine. It is a 2-bowl wonder. We've got 150 grams of plain flour. Oops. And then almonds. I'm liking the introduction of ground almonds into the bacon. This adds tenderness and flavour, apparently. Pinch of salt. Smells beautiful. Right, let's just check. So we have 1 teaspoon of ground cardamom, a pinch of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 50 grams of ground almonds, 150 grams of plain flour. Now I have been warming the butter up. It didn't say melted, it did say softened, but hear me out. I have done this before and it's worked perfectly fine. Because I forget to put my butter out to soften, I do just melt the butter a little bit, and I haven't had an issue with it yet. That's not to say that today's not the day. I always feel as though I've sort of got it together with bacon, and then I start baking and I realise I've not really got much together. This is as old as anything, and I've only got one whisk now. I really should invest in another one, but I just keep going away with this one. Right, so we're whisking and then we're putting the eggs in. We might be waking everybody up. That's looking all right, that, isn't it? Can't really smell the cardamom at this point. Maybe we'll have to do a sprinkling of cardamom sugar on the top.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming.
Now this is going in the oven for approximately 55 minutes. It does look a little plain. I don't think it's going to taste plain. But I, again, didn't process what I was reading. And I think it also said to fan it out on the top, which would give you the traditional pear cake look, you know, if you were buying it from a coffee shop. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle cardamom sugar on the top once it's cooled, because that is the vibe that I'm wanting to go for.
Gold hair, gold rings, gold leaves, gold anything, golden. I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things.
This smells so nice. It has just fallen apart. It's that moist. And I've only cut a small slice for myself. You can see the pear scattered through it. Very delicate. Very buttery. Very moist. I don't like the word moist, but I cannot describe it in any other way. You get the hit of the pear, you know, as you're getting them, they're all cooked. It is a solid cake recipe. The only thing that I'd say is that the cardamom is not around. I feel like you need freshly ground cardamom seeds or freshly open ground cardamom. I don't think you should risk it if you're wanting that flavour to come through. I know that it's meant to be a delicate flavour so it doesn't overwhelm the pears, but I'm struggling to find it. However, the base of the recipe is a fantastic recipe for adding blackberries, strawberries for summer. I think maybe the next time I do this, because I will do it again, I might scatter chopped almonds on the top. I think you've got different variations that you could do. Solid cake recipe for a little bit of fika